Hello everyone, this is Mary from These with Becca, and today we are going to do some fall recommendations, but this is going to be like fall recommendations for you and for me as well. So how I'm going to split this up is that there's going to be 20 recommendations. The first 10 recommendations I have actually read, and I think they give off fall vibes in some way, shape, or form. And I would say that it would be a perfect time to read them. The last 10 recommendations are books that I have not read, but I feel like they give off fall vibes as well. Probably the spookier books are going to be in the ones that I have not read because I tend to not read that spooky of stories. But they are books that I've wanted to read and I've heard they're pretty popular, the ones that I haven't read, I think, for the most part. So take that what you will. I just think that they do good for fall recommendations. So they're basically the books that I'm hoping that I can get to during the fall, but I make no promises on that because I suck at sticking to a TBR. Let's get started in the recommendations. The first 10, again, is the recommendations for books that I have read. And the first one I want to talk about, which is pretty popular, so you've probably heard about it before, but I'm going to talk about it some more because this series is great and I love it a lot. So anytime I can talk about it, I will bring it up. And that is the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett. The first one being Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I will say I've only read the first 2 books in the series. I haven't gotten to the third one. I almost cheated with one of the recommendations of books I haven't read to recommend the series again because I haven't read the third one, but I didn't. I held myself back. I won't repeat the series that I talk about in either side. But if you've never heard about Emily Wilde, let me tell you, it's great and I love it and you should definitely read it. It follows Emily Wilde, obviously. She studies fairies and she is a very get the job done, very studious and person. She's not very peoply, but she has to go to this town, a small town in, well, the town's called Harvinsvik. Harvinsvik? I think it's like some Nordic place. Not 100% sure about that. Don't quote me. But she goes to this town to study fairies for the encyclopedia of fairies that she is currently writing. And she gets off on the wrong foot with the townspeople, which is kind of making her job trying to study these fairies a little more difficult until her rival slash co-worker comes into town and he gets all the townsfolk to fall in love with him basically, and it's great. And they kind of work together so that Emily can get all of the information she needs for her book that she's writing, and it's fantastic and I love them so very much. They're great. I would say this is more of late November fall where it's just on the cusp of winter but it's still fall. That type of vibe is what this is because it's a very wintry setting. So, but I still think it gives fall vibes. So it's late fall, early winter is the perfect time for this because that is what this book is. And I will say that it starts off very cozy, people call this a cozy book, but towards the end it gets kind of creepy, not gonna lie. So take that as you will. Also, it is written as a journal that Emily Wilde is writing about her experience creating this encyclopedia. And there is also footnotes, which this is the first time I've ever read a book that had footnotes like that, and I really enjoyed them. So I don't know, some people don't like footnotes, but I enjoyed it. So thought I would also mention that there's footnotes in this. And now that I have rambled about this one book and there's 19 more books to go, let's hurry up. The next book I want to talk about is another one that I feel like I talk about every video. And it's actually a manga series, and it's Frieren Beyond Journey's End by Kanito Yamada and Tsukasa Abe. Not exactly sure how to pronounce their names, but I love the series so very much. It's fantastic and I love it. It's great. And it very much has fall vibes in my opinion. Maybe even spring a little bit as well. I feel like either season you could read this and it would be like perfect types of weather. It's about an elf named Frieren and she's very long lived. She's like 1,000 years old or something. And this is the story of after she and her group of friends, who's on the cover, Frieren is the white-haired elf right here, and the rest of the people on this cover are her party members that defeated the Demon King. And this is the story after it, and it's very much a character study on Frieren and her trying to figure out emotion and how much people in her life can affect her. And it's beautiful and I love it. And like, it's a very slow going story, so if you're not into that or you do not connect with the characters at all, I don't think the story is going to be for you. But I love it. It's so good. It just makes me happy anytime I read it. Even if it's like a very melancholic tone to it, but I adore it, obviously. I talk about it all the time. I would recommend it if that at all sounds like it should be up your alley, because it was definitely up my alley. The next book I'm going to recommend is Spellbound by F.T. Lukens. I just actually recently read this. I think a couple months ago I read this, and it's really fun. It's these two characters. What are their names? I don't know. Rook and Sun. Rook is he becomes an apprentice to this very famous curse breaker, I think is what they're called. Rook comes and becomes her apprentice, and it's beautiful. And Sun is apprentice to Atonia, who is the Rook's map person that he's studying with. Antonia's rival in this area, and Sun is so like Sun and Rook are like opposite sides, and the story is about their interactions together, and there's something that happens that they have to come together to fix, and it's so fun and it's beautiful and it's just a great time. The banter between the two is really fun because Sun is all like, I don't want to make friends, like this is crazy, like why are you talking to me? And Rook is like, oh my word, you're so cool, I want to know everything about you, you're so like, I want to be friends with you. Like, it's very grumpy sunshine, I think, and it's beautiful. I love it. I don't know what else to say about it without spoiling it. I see, the thing is, when I talk about books, is that I know that I want to know like as little as possible about a book before I get into it. So I always am like, okay, what would I care about knowing before I got into a book? And really, the answer is nothing. Like, I don't want to know anything. I'm like, I just want to open the book and be like, oh my word, this is amazing. I didn't expect any of it. Because I didn't read the flap. Anyways, that's another rant for another day, but I would recommend this for a fall read because it's witchy, it's magical. What more can you want? Except, you know what, now that I think about it, this is set in summer because I remember Sun talking really bad about how hot it was. Didn't think that through, but still very witchy, and that makes me think of fall, so it counts. Okay, my next recommendation, another pretty popular one, but like, how could I make a fall recommendation and not mention this series? It really would be sacrilege not to. And that is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. It's so fun, and I really want to do a reread because if you didn't know, I'm the type of person that will read something and then like a week or so later, I'm like, I don't know a single thing that happened except that I liked it. Not quite to that extent, but pretty much to that extent. So The Raven Boys is about this girl named Blue and these group of 4 boys that go to this rich academy that I can't think of what it's called. Adlambai? Is that what the academy's called? Anyways, it doesn't matter. But they go to a really fancy school, and Blue doesn't. She goes to like the public school or whatever. And they end up meeting, and Blue and them are searching for a sleeping king, and hijinks ensue. It's great. Also, pretty important stuff is Blue is related to a few psychics, and that's who she lives with. When she was younger, the her aunts told her that when she kisses her true love, he will die. And so, that's fun. It's beautiful. I highly recommend it, along with the thousands of other people that recommend this story, because it's great. And it's like epitome of a fall read. The next recommendation I have is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillag. Uh, just just look at the cover. It just screams fall read, doesn't it? Like it's just such an atmospheric, spooky, slightly unhinged kind of story, and I love it a lot. I love the magic system in this because it's based on cards, and the cards give the holder of that card certain types of abilities, and it's great. And I loved learning about it. I thought that was like the most interesting part. Besides the main character, I loved her, which I've heard some people dislike the main character, and I'm like, okay. I loved her. I thought she was great. Do I remember her name? Absolutely. It was Elspeth. Elspeth? She's great. So like the main thing is, so like in this world there's a certain sickness that goes around, and if you catch this sickness, they're supposed to kill you. Like you're not supposed to stay alive. And the main character, she had this illness, but her father was able to make it so it seemed like she didn't have this illness, and so she was able to survive. That's wrong. Let me know, because I feel like that's right, but then I'm second guessing myself if that's wrong. Anyways, it doesn't matter. She ends up having a monster basically in her head. She calls it Nightmare, I think. And it talks to her, and I loved that part of the book a lot. Like the dynamic between them talking to each other in their heads was fantastic and great. But it just this this is another very fall read in my recommendation, in my opinion. Very October, I think. October would be a great book to read this. Also, I keep trying to pinpoint a month because of Sarah without an H's fall recommendation video. I'll link it below. But she posted her fall recommendation, and she put certain books per month, and I thought that was very interesting. So now I keep doing that now. Anyways, but here's this next recommendation. I don't remember what number we are on. The 5th recommendation. Have I read the sequel yet? Sadly, no, but it will happen, hopefully soon. I obviously have to reread this one first. Another series, and it is a comic series, and that is Monstrous by Majorie Liu and Sana Takeda. It's beautiful. Look at it. It's gorgeous. The art is amazing. Let me make sure that there's no spoilers. Like, it's so pretty. Look at that. Don't look too closely. I don't want you spoiled. But art alone, 5 stars. But the story is also really interesting. It's about this girl, half wolf. She is half human, half arcanic. I don't know, like the magical people in this world, I guess. There was this a war not too long ago, and between the two, and yeah, I don't, and she there's a lot of things going on in this story, and it's hard to like sum it up in like a short synopsis without like spoiling things. So just know that the main person you're following is Micah. If I'm saying that name wrong, I'm so sorry. I've only ever read it. I've never heard it out loud. She has a monster attached to her, and she's trying to get rid of it. And as she's doing this, a lot of bloody, uncomfortable things are happening along the way for her to do this. It does get quite gory. They call it back here set in an alternate world of Art Deco beauty and steampunk horror. It's great. I do recommend it, and I think it's definitely a good fall read in my opinion. Obviously, if you have a different opinion, that's okay. It's just my opinion. It's a fall book. Technically, I wouldn't care if you read it any time of the year, as long as you got to it and read it, because it's great. Unless you look up trigger warnings and it's not something you can handle, then obviously I don't want you to force yourself to read something that would be upsetting to you. But also, it's so good. I love all these books. They're so good. So the next book is another book that I've read pretty recently, and that's Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. So good. Amazingly so. Katie from Katie Coulson, Gavin from Gavin Reads It All, and Gabby from Gabby Reads all did this video where they read this book together. Amazing video, by the way. Highly recommend watching it. It will be linked below. But I will say, if you want to read this book, I would read this book first because they do go into spoilers. But that video alone should make you want to read this book so that you can watch that video because this is really good. But if you don't know, Someone You Can Build a Nest In follows this monster shapeshifter pile of goop called Shisheshin, who is obviously a monster, and it opens up to her waking up out of a coma. Like, she has to hibernate, so she's waking up out of hibernation because these three people are broke into her home, or what she considers her home, and they're trying to kill Shisheshin, obviously. And she's like, hello, I'm trying to sleep, and you're just breaking and entering, rude. And so she like gets out of her like incubation area. I think it's like, from what it's described to me, it's kind of like a lake area. She has to come out, and she is obviously, I was just saying, like, she's like goop is how I was imagining it anyway. So she has to get stuff to build a skeleton so she can walk around and stuff and move. And so she has stuff laying around her area, and she's just like rolling into it so that she can absorb that stuff. So like, she has like a bear trap in her chest and different bones and stuff to make her seem more human than she actually is, to like go out and try to trick these people to get away from her home. And as she's doing this, she ends up killing these men. I think she kills 2 of them, and it's so good. And people call it a cozy sapphic horror because she ends up eventually in the story meeting a girl named Homily, and Homily is precious, and her family all should die. She should survive, but her family should die. And you will have the same reaction, or I hope you have the same reaction, when you meet her family in this book. And it's great. It's beautiful. I love it. Definitely twisty, turny. Like, there's some things in here that I'm like, oh my word, I should have seen this coming, but I didn't. Which is not saying much because I never see anything coming. That's a lie. I sometimes do, but like, not very rare. Very rarely do I see something coming. But I did not see how much I would love this book. I thought I would like it. I didn't think I would love it. So good. Definitely want to get my hands on Wearing the Line by John Wiswell, which is his new book. Definitely want to read that, especially since it is based around mythology, which is one of my things that always makes me want to pick a book up, is if it's based on mythology. This book, fantastic, amazing. If you don't mind like body horror, Shisheshin definitely eats people in this, so like take that in mind. Obviously, murder happens, people die. If you can handle all that, definitely pick this up because it's adorable. Weird to say that there's murder and cannibal and eating people and stuff, and I'm like, this is adorable and it's precious and it definitely needs to be read by everybody. Okay, not everybody wants to read about this, but I'm just saying it's so cute and precious, and I am so happy that I picked it up because it just brought light into my life in a way that only this story could have. So obviously you need to pick it up. Okay, the next book is a dragon book that, I don't know, just feels very fall to me, obviously. This is why it's on the list. And this dragon book is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. And it's another book that I recently read. It's so good. And I'm so happy that I own it now. Because hopefully, I haven't read the it's a trilogy, and I haven't read this next two books yet, but I don't see them making it so I don't like the story anymore because this one was so good. So this book is following Lee and Annie, and this story takes place after a revolution has happened. Like the previous government, or they're called dragon lords, were in place. It was very hard to survive for everybody, and they were the sole riders of dragons until this new government took place or took over. And now more people have the ability to go into the school to become a dragon rider. It's not very chipper. Like, they're still, like, when you're reading this, you're like, that doesn't seem quite right. Like, that doesn't seem like that great of a government. And the characters in this are also questioning the government and whether or not this is better than the previous one. It's very interesting to look at. It's a very political driving story. That there is dragons in this, but I did say it was a dragon story, but like the dragons are, it's like normal life but with dragons, as in like the dragons are basically just another weapon in the army, if that makes any sense. There's like dragon fights and stuff in this story, but I wouldn't say the dragons are a major part of the story, if that makes any sense. Like they're for sure part of the plot. Like, people are trying to determine who is worthy of riding a dragon. Like, that's one of the main points in the story, is who could be worthy of that. I mean, they don't say that in words like that, but like basically that's what they're trying to do. It's amazing, but I do recommend this, especially in fall. Would I recommend it in winter, spring, and summer? Yes, but this is a fall recommendation, so I'm telling you that it's also good in fall. If any of what I've talked about and rambled about, which I feel like is going to be great for editing me's time to figure out how I'm going to edit that all together, if you liked any of what I said, pick this up. It's great, and that's all you really need to know. I think it's great, so it's obviously great. Problem solved. The next book I have for you is the Stay a Spell series by Juliet Cross. This one specifically is Wolf Gone Wild. I do think that this is one of the more fall-leaning stories in the series, but they're all very... I feel like you could read any of them in the fall and it would be perfect time. This book, the first one, follows Evie and Matteo. Matteo ends up trying to find Evie because Evie is a very prolific curse breaker, and so Matteo tries to find her because he is a werewolf and he hasn't shifted in months, which is not great for him because it's caused his inner wolf, I guess, to like come really close to the surface. And so he has an inside voice called Alpha, and let me just say, I love Alpha. He's great, and he makes me laugh every time he's on the page. But I love all these characters in this one. I mean, all the characters in the story in general are great, and I love them. This one, just special place in my heart. It's my favorite. The rest of the series, so Evie has 5 other sisters, and each of the sisters, so the Savoy sisters, have a book in the series, and each of them is about them falling in love with someone. And it's beautiful and very witchy, very paranormal, because it's a paranormal romance, and it feels very much like fall. I don't make the rules. That's just how it is. So definitely recommend picking up the series because it's just a fun time. And why wouldn't you want a fun time? I'm really helping you out by making you add this to your TBR. You're welcome. The last recommendation of books that I've already read is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I know. Surprised that this is on the list. You've never heard of this before, have you? Well, let me introduce it to you. This is beautiful and lovely and amazing and everything else that you've ever heard about this besides what Gavin says about it. I don't know. There's probably other people that don't like it. I know specifically that Gavin reads it all, doesn't like it. So. But I love this story. Obviously, it's in the recommendation video. Also, the video, I had a video of me reading this. It's my I like have a series, but it's only one episode so far because I've not done any more. Book tours made you read it, and this is the book I read for Katie Colson. Definitely want you to watch that video of me falling deeply in love with this book, like 10 pages in, because it's a favorite video of mine, and if I can introduce it to someone and make them watch it, I definitely will. So I'll leave it in the cards and down below. Please go watch it, because I love that video. I definitely need to make another episode. But anyways, we're not talking about my video. We're talking about A Diary of Blood, which is amazing, as I said. And if you don't know, it's going through letters that Constanta wrote to her husband. He's never named, but she is Dracula's bride, telling him why she killed him. It's beautiful, and I loved it. If you are not the type of person that likes letters, you probably won't like this. Also, if you don't like when the narrative is talking to you, because these letters are written as if she is talking to Dracula. So in this case, when you're reading it, she's talking to you, but it's actually talking to Dracula, if that makes any sense. I loved it. I thought I would be a little weirded out by it, but I didn't. I loved it. Look, I tabbed it. I underlined. I wish I could go back. I will go back and read it again because it's amazing. Like, every line is beautiful and it's great. Let me read you it's just the first opening lines. The first page of this story, okay? And it's beautiful and it'll make you want to read it. So I have to. And that is, I never dreamed it would end like this, my lord. Your blood splashing hot flecks onto my nightgown and pouring in rivulets onto our bedchamber floor. But creatures like us live a long time. There is no horror left in this world that can surprise me. Eventually, even your death becomes its own sort of inevitability. Isn't that beautiful? Like, I love this story so much. So, obviously, recommend. It's a fall recommendation because vampires, moody, gothic, very atmospheric in my opinion, and I don't see why you shouldn't read it. Obviously there's those things that I mentioned that I'm like, you probably won't like it if you don't like those things, but if you like all those things, or you don't know if you like all those things, read this and you can thank me later. The next part of this video is going to be 10 books that I have not read yet, but I think that they would be good fall reads. And so this is kind of recommendations for me from myself, but also for you if you decide to read these and you like them. But also know that I have not read them, so I don't know 100% if I like them yet. That is what the difference between these 10 books and the last 10 books are. So the first book I want to put on this is Fairy Bargains of Prospect Hill by Rowena Miller. I'm going to say this now, that this was definitely a cover purchase for me. I feel like this book is going to be very atmospheric, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. I feel like it's going to be a little slow going for some reason, but I don't know yet because obviously I haven't read it yet. Let me read to you the first couple sentences and you'll see. On Prospect Hill, you can get nearly anything you want from the Fae if you know how to ask and if you can pay the price. And I'm excited for whenever I get to this, and it feels very fall. The cover itself just looks very fall to me. And I hope that I like it. And if anyone's ever heard of this book, because I never heard about it until I saw it on the table at Barnes & Noble one day, let me know if you liked it. The next book is a book that I wish I could have added to the other one because I should have already read this. Hopefully I am in the process of reading it, or soon to be in the process of reading it, because it is on my September TBR. So, take that what you will. And that is Wings of Starlight by Alison Saft. It's a Queen Clarion and Lord Mallory romance story. If you don't know what that is, watch this movie. It's great, and also I'm expecting it to be very sad. Obviously, I see you people that know what this story is about. You're like, Mary, how can you make this a fall recommendation? It's obviously going to be partially set in winter. And to that, I say, I wanted to recommend this book, and it gives me fall vibes. And that's all you really need to know. I just think that fairies in general, make me think of fall. And I think that is a good enough reason to want to recommend this book, and also think that it is good for a fall read. I think that it's either going to be like the start of fall or the end of fall, like on the cusp of winter. And have I said what this is about? I think so, because I said something about Queen Clarion and Lord Mallory's story. And to watch this video, actually, maybe you should read this and then watch this video, or watch this movie. I don't know which would be better. Really? I should stop talking because we're almost at an hour and I need to cut myself off. But obviously, with every video I put this in, I always mention how much I want to read it and how much that I'm excited to read it and how much that scares me to read it. So hopefully the next time I put this in a video, I will be like, yes, I finally read it, guys. You should be proud of me. But as of right now, to be read at another time. The next book is going to be The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. Do I have to say much about this and why I think this is going to be a good fall recommendation? Like, look at this cover. It just screams fall. At least it screams fall to me. Or spring. It also screams spring. It can be either or. So in this story, it follows a girl who is a librarian, and something happens that causes her to have to leave the library, and she takes some books with her, some of the most precious books to her, and takes them with her so they won't get destroyed. And she ends up going back to her hometown and things happen. I think it's like the books that she took has magic in them, and the normal people are not allowed to have magic books or something like that. I don't 100% know, but it just seems like it would be a good fall read. And so it's on this recommendation for me and for you. But if you read it and you're like, Mary, this is not a fall read, I'll be like, maybe you're right, but I think it is. And I will hopefully believe that after I read it as well. The next book I have is The Gathering Dark, edited by Tori Bavellino. This is an anthology of folk horror, so it's a bunch of short stories. Stories with Chloe Gong, Hannah Witten, Allison Saft, Alex Browen, Olivia Shada. I don't know most of these people. I got it because Allison Saft was on it, and I was like, oh, I want to read all of Allison Saft's book before I get to Wings of Starlight. Obviously that didn't happen, but this is on the list because it's an all anthology of horror, folk horror that just screams autumn, specifically October. I really don't know much about it besides that it's folk horror, and it's supposed to be spooky, scary skeletons. And the cover is gorgeous. Who made the cover? Evangeline Gallagher. Beautiful illustrations. Great job. It says, these are the stories that haunt us. So I'm expecting to be scared and not want to sleep and keep all the lights on. That's what I'm expecting of this. And hopefully it doesn't deliver that much because I don't want to be scared. But it is on the list of books that I want to read that I feel like fit the fall vibe. The next book is Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. I have been wanting to read this since I first saw this at the bookstore, and I still haven't done that. It is about a trans boy named Benji who is trying to escape this cult that he was raised in. Basically, there was like an apocalypse, and the cult that he's raised in thinks that they're like the best of the best, and they're trying to make sure that everyone else thinks that, I guess. I'm not 100% positive, but I know that this is supposed to be spooky, scary skeletons. I don't know why I keep calling like horror books spooky, scary skeletons, but that is a thing that I do now. If you watch my bookshelf reorganization, I have a section that I was like, I don't know what to call this except spooky, scary skeletons, so it tracks. This cover is gorgeous, and I've heard nothing but good things about Andrew Joseph White's stories in general. So I'm excited about reading this, and I am most likely going to get scared, I'm afraid. But I will eventually get to it, and I hope that it is as great as I have put it in my head. Okay, the next book that I want to read is A Far Wilder Magic by Allison Saft. So A Far Wilder Magic is a book that I specifically bought because Allison Saft wrote it. Again, back to the thing that I wanted to read all of Allison Saft's book before Wings of Starlight came out. Did not happen, obviously. But I don't know much about this book. Like, I am literally the person that doesn't want to know much about a book before I pick it up. That's just who I am as a person. Especially if I already planned on being like, oh, I'm going to binge all of Alison Staff's work because she's making a Tinkerbell book and I have to. Obviously, I don't have to because I haven't done it yet. But it was part of the plans. It was in the plans. It just fell to the wayside as I added more to the plans. You know how it goes. It's fine. So I can't really tell you much about it except a magical secret, a mythical haunt, and a love that could risk everything. I've also heard really good things about this from people online, so I'm expecting great things. And also, it just feels like something that you would read in autumn, and I'm going to read this, hopefully eventually. We're not going to talk about the unhauls that I did the few videos ago where I unhauled books that I've never read before. I'm going to read this one. It's not going to get unhauled unless I don't like it, which is rude of you to even suggest that I wouldn't like a book that I own. Obviously, I know my taste very well. Again, don't talk about the books that I'm unhauling in earlier videos where I didn't like some of the books. We're not talking about that. We're talking about now, and I think I'm going to like it. So, it's on this list of recommendations for you and for me, because obviously I haven't read it yet. But when I read it, it's going to be 5 stars, amazing. The next book I have for you is A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim. Look at this cover. It's so pretty. It also has gilded edges. Ooh, so pretty. And then has like a little picture in the cover. It's beautiful, and I love it a lot. Is this another one where I'm like, I don't know much about it, I just think it gives fall vibes? Yeah, it is. I feel like it's just because fantasy in general makes me think fall. So could this possibly be set in like a desert? Maybe, I don't know. What it says on the back is a girl who paints the future. A cursed dragon lord. Bound by love and deception, they will bring down the gods. And I think that sounds fun. Destroying the gods sounds like a fall activity to me. I am definitely a person that judges books by the cover. And if I'm judging the book by this cover, I think it's going to be 5 stars, amazing. It's already shiny enough for all those stars, so I'm right. And if you've read it and not liked it, everyone has different tastes, okay? But if you have read it, do tell me what you thought about it, because I'm excited. My next thing that I think would be a good fall read is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I don't want to tell you how long I've had this book. A while, because everyone was talking about this book. Specifically, everyone talks about Grady Hendrix, like, oh my word, he's so good. As someone that's not very big in horror thriller section of the reading, like, I watch a lot of people who read that type of book, but I personally am like fantasy, slight romance now person, so I haven't read it, but I've heard so many good things about it that I'm super excited, and it definitely screams fall to me, except I've heard that it's partially set at a summer camp, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's like the warmer parts of fall that it should be read in, but it just, when you think spooky, you think autumn, okay? And that is what I'm going with. And also, an exorcism. It has to be in the fall. Like, you can't get an exorcism not in the fall. I don't make the rules. That's just how it is. Obviously, I'm joking. I don't think that's true. It's just for the laughs. So take that as you will. I do not know anything about exorcisms. I think this would be a fun read during autumn. Even if it wasn't set in autumn. It doesn't have to be set in autumn for it to be a fall read. It just feels fall to me. It feels like it would be a good fall read. And maybe it would also be a good summer read. You could read it during Summerween. This is a fall recommendation to you. Don't tell people to read a book that you're recommending for fall in the summer. It's not how this works. My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Fall recommendation. What I think I know about it is that 2 friends go to a summer camp and one of them gets possessed, and the other friend that's not possessed tries to get people to know that she's possessed and no one believes her. That's what I think happens. I don't know for sure. Obviously, I haven't read it yet, but everyone else says that this is a great Grady Hendrix. So I think I am good to recommend this to you as well as to myself. So we're going to go with it. The next ones I have is actually 2 for 1 because I feel like I had to recommend both of them. You'll see why when I tell you. And that's the Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer. I feel like these two go so well together that you can't not recommend them together. So these are the Emily Wilson translations, and I don't know, just classics, especially this old of classics, just feel autumn. Maybe that's the academics start and fall type of thing. So you're like, oh, this is an academic read, so it's obviously a fall read. I know the Odyssey pretty well. Is that because of Epic the musical? Possibly, but it's also because of Percy Jackson and all the other mythology books that I read. But I've never read the original story. So I have them now and I will eventually read them. So the Iliad follows the Trojan War, and the Odyssey is about Odysseus' travels home after the Trojan War. So sequels. So another fall recommendation for you and me. Hopefully I eventually get to these because I feel like as someone that always talks about how I like mythology retellings, I should have read these already. Hopefully I enjoy them. The last book that I'm going to talk about that I have yet to read, and I'm very sad about it, is The Flames of Albion by Jean Z. Menzies. The author is actually a YouTuber. I will definitely link her below because I love her channel. She talks mostly about classic literature and it's great and I love it. It's so fascinating. She especially did a video about Medusa that I definitely recommend that one specifically, but all her videos are great. But The Flames of Albion I feel like I chose this one specifically because it has dragons in it and it's fantasy, which as I've said previously just makes me think of fall for some reason. I don't know where that comes from. Follows a woman who lived in this university for a long time. Like she grew up in this university and she's always been a very studious person seeking knowledge and all that jazz until one day she wakes up a sleeping dragon egg, and so then she has to figure out what she's supposed to be doing with this dragon and how to take care of it and all that jazz. And then there's also some kind of conspiracy going on with their peaceful land, and they obviously have to figure out what's going on. The back of the thing says Flames of Albion is a story of friendship, love, and acceptance that celebrates queer identity. And I think that's beautiful. This is the last book that I will be recommending to you today. I really hope that I love it. Also, this author, she came out with The Lady of the Lake, and I really want to read this book. So, bonus recommendation, I guess, because that cover is gorgeous, and I want it on my shelves. And I want to read it and love it because it looks amazing. So, now that I rambled for over an hour, this video is probably not going to be an hour, obviously, because I know that there was a lot of pauses and stuff. I have to edit those out. That's future me's problem. I hope that you found something in this recommendation video that sounds fun or sounds like it would be up your alley, and that I showed you at least a couple books that you've never heard of before. Definitely tell me in the comments if you see something that really excited you and made you want to read it right away, because that sounds fun, especially if it's a book that I've already read. I mean, even if it's a book that I haven't read yet, but especially the books I've already read, because then I can actually talk about it. I can be like, oh yeah, that sounds so fun. I'm so excited for you to get to that, because obviously I am. That's why they're in this recommendation video. And if it's a book that I have not read yet and you've read it, let me know if they are any good and if you like them, if you've read it, because I want to know. I hope that you have a good fall. I think that's all I have to say today. Can't think of anything else. I probably will after I shut the camera off because that happens more than you think. I hope to see you soon, but I make no promises. Bye.